Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Before starting, I would like to thank some people. Henry Roshi, thank you so much for not only inviting me to offer teisho, but also for making me feel welcome and trying to relax me. Valerie Roshi, thank you too for your support and love. Johanna, thank you for organizing this and for your patience. To all of you, thank you for being present. I see that of my Sangha members, two of my Sangha members and Rolly are here. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow, Arjiki, and my dear friend, thank you so much. When I heard that you were going to be Jiki, it helped me calm my nerves. Last Tuesday, when I received your email saying, the space for you is very open and loving, and I hope this may soothe any nervousness that may arise. These words brought me close to tears and also encouraged me to write the teisho. Today is Wednesday. Well, it was Wednesday then. And thanks to Mara, I'm confidently writing this teisho. When I was first asked by Henry to offer teisho, I was wondering what koan to choose. Since I had been working on some koans of Joshu, I thought I'd choose Mumonkan Case 37, the oak tree in the garden. Ryoun Roshi often says that this was his favorite koan before. It motivated me to sit and discover what makes this koan special to the Roshi. I then listened to the recording of the Roshi teisho, and there he said that oak tree in the garden was a very powerful koan. He said it had a strange power to remove and delete delusions, concepts, and unnecessary attachments. But when I read the koan, it did not immediately feel, I did not immediately feel any of this. This sharing was not just a challenge, but an invitation to make this koan come to life. I guess my nervousness comes from the fear of not being able to do justice to this koan. For me to be able to show the world that the Roshi sees and the world of Shakyamuni, Buddha, in this teisho, I must experience it clearly. Yes, I felt it was a huge responsibility. And at this point, all I can do is really try my very best and allow Joshu and the oak tree in the garden to speak for themselves. Another reason why I chose this koan was because I wanted to become more intimate with Joshu. Perhaps the bond with Master Joshu comes from being appointed teacher in Kanon-an Temple in China during our Kenshukai in 2005. That was Joshu's temple, but it doesn't look like what the temple now, the Bailin temple now, is nowhere the temple of Joshu. However, that reason is a bit shallow, for when one works on Master Joshu's koans, one cannot help but be drawn to him and emulate him. These past months have been very different and difficult for most of us. For me, It gave me an opportunity to sit for hours every day, something I had only done during session. Not socializing, staying at home 24/7 since March gave me countless blessings as I spent the time in the cushion. My son Mick made a statement that before he thought I would spend so much time in Zen as he would not see me on Sundays. And when there were sessions, but now he says it seems that I'm on session every day. Of course, he's exaggerating. Before I start with the teisho, I want Tasha Proper, please allow me to share something that happened last night. Uh, Something very warm and tender. Okay. Writing a Tasha has become my bonding Zen time with Chito, my husband. When I am done with my Tasha, he will sit down, listen, edit, and give feedback. Some of his feedback is seeing the koan from a non-practitioner, or he wants to give a lesson or a meaning, like the oak tree. He wanted to he wanted me to say in the teisho that we had to be like the oak tree, strong and big. Anyway, I just smiled. Last night, he had many interruptions, many calls from the office, and so I think he felt guilty. When Mick, my son, came down, he asked Mick to listen to my teisho. It felt so good sharing my practice with two people I love very much. So for today's teisho, we have Mumonkan case number 37, the oak tree in the garden. Allow me to read the case, the commentary, and the verse. The case. A monk asked Joshua in all earnestness, "What is the meaning of the patriarchs coming from the west?" Joshua said, "The oak tree in the garden." Mumon's commentary. If you see through Joshua's response clearly, there is no Shakyamuni in the past, no Maitreya in the future. Verse. Words do not express the fact. Speech does not match the student. Attached to words, one loses the reality. Stagnating in phrases, one is deluded. I will just offer teisho on the main case. In the main case, we have three characters. Joshua, the patriarch coming from the west, who is Bodhidharma, and the monk. Master Joshua lived for 120 years. All of us know Joshua very well because of the koan move, which was the first koan given to most of us. And the teishos on the first day of session is often on the koan move as well. I won't say much about him or his life, as I hope that this teisho will make Master Joshua come to life and be relevant to us. Bodhidharma is another great master, and we also all know him very well. We know that he brought the teaching from India to China. And he went to China because his master told him to go there 60 years after his death. Imagine, Bodhidharma was about 120 years of age when he traveled to China. They say he lived up to 150. When I was reading this, Cheetah couldn't believe, what? Joshua lived up to 120. And now you're telling me Bodhidharma lived up to 150. And I smiled. All right, so now the third character, the monk. Who is he? He has no name, no age. He can be 58, 45, or 31 years old. He can be any age. He can be black, brown, or white. He can look like an Asian or a Caucasian, but he definitely looks like the person you see when you're in front of the mirror. Yes, the monk is you and I. The koan starts saying, a monk asked Joshua in all earnestness, what is the meaning of the patriarchs coming from the West? Why is the monk asking Master Joshua this question? Is he wondering why Bodhidharma made that journey at the age of 120? Is he perplexed over the difficulties Bodhidharma must have encountered in his 3-year journey to China? Is he awed that Bodhidharma obeyed his teacher's wishes and didn't give up even if he was so old? The koan says, the monk asked in all earnestness. There is something that the monk wants to understand or discover. Is he really only interested in the meaning why Bodhidharma journeyed to China? Or is he encountering some unrest and is troubled? Perhaps he means to ask if it's worth practicing Zen and wants to know if there are benefits he will receive from doing the practice. Or perhaps he has lots of anxieties and wants to know if practicing will give him peace of mind. Or wants to know how to address these anxieties, but he hides his innermost feelings by asking a safe and general question like, what is the meaning of the patriarchs coming from the West? Yes, I see it like this as I identify myself with the monk. But aren't we ourselves really the monk? When we see forest fires raging in California, doesn't it stir up fear in our hearts? When we saw George Floyd murdered, didn't it bring strong emotions within us? Because this injustice has been going on and on. When Duterte signs laws that erode our democracy, does this not cause so much anxiety and anger? Yes, here in the Philippines, there in the United States and other parts of the world, there exists so much inequality, injustice, and prejudices. And it seems that no matter how much sitting we do, these just keep going on. How does my practice, your practice, our practice of Zen help? To all these questions, fears, anxieties, and anger, Master Joshu's answer is oak tree in the garden. Is this answer relevant to us now? How can oak tree in the garden give us peace? Late June, before Duterte signed the anti-terror bill and before ABS-CBN, one of our largest broadcasting company, lost its franchise, we were sitting and sitting, hoping that Duterte would have a change of heart and not sign the bill, and that the members of the House of Representatives Committee on Legislative Franchises would grant the media network its franchise. I personally thought and felt that the power of our joint sitting could do this, just like the way Shakyamuni Buddha would sit in the middle of the battlefield and stop a war. We were soliciting for people to sit, and we kept saying to sit and sit until we drop. But the miracle didn't happen. And you can imagine how disappointed I was. I was looking at the practice as magic, and the magic didn't work. And yes, as a power that could cause a miracle. But there was no miracle. The results were not what we were expecting or we wanted. But the practice opened many doors and blessings which kept me on. One door that opened was Ryoun Roshi's statement saying that we must practice to see clearly who we are. This gave me confidence that if I continue practicing and practicing and practicing, I will see clearly and more. I will see clearly. When the Roshi also said, we are one existence. Sitting is nothing but the whole world sitting. To me, that was light shining. Another door was opened from Valerie's uplifting and inspiring teisho. Windows also let in the air for me to breathe. When I received the loving embraces from Valerie and Maura, and when I see the joy and excitement of Orientis discovering Zen, Even Master Joshua is reaching out to help. His answer, oak tree in the garden, is so charged and so powerful. The Dharma is making it very clear what path to take and to see and experience that peaceful mind we are searching for is really we ourselves. There was a shift in my practice. This time, when I was working on the koan, it was not to show the correct answer. Is there a correct answer? To my teacher, so that I could move to the next koan. It was just sitting and sitting and sitting to discover Master Joshua, the oak tree in the garden, and me myself. How is Master Joshua helping us see who we truly are? How is he helping us to see clearly who we are? How is oak tree in the garden the answer to all our questions and our fears? When we sit and allow Master Joshua to take over, slowly we melt away. Our body and mind just falling away, falling away, falling away. When there is no more me, oak tree in the garden comes forth. But no, the reality is oak tree in the garden. The reality is oak tree in the garden is always there and has been there from the very beginning. It is just our delusive minds that block us from seeing this. It is our fear to let go and to hold on to nothing that makes us doubt. It is our desires, our wants, our egos that are our obstacles in experiencing Master Joshua, an oak tree in the garden. If we say, yes, we want to see who we truly are, if we open ourselves to the myriad dharmas and blessings, if we sit at the forward edge of our practice, we will see, we will experience, and we will be free. Please allow me to share something that happened to me just recently. A few weeks ago, I reacted negatively towards one of our members. I lost all my patience and I shut that person out. I was so full of anger. I was in a fighting mood that I was even fighting with my son on the dinner table while celebrating Chito's birthday. Maybe all this was coming because maybe I was so tired getting Google Meet to work in the morning and evening sits, counting how many we were participating, texting and inviting others to join. I was so driven to the point that my own practice became secondary to the success of the sitting. I was equating success to the number of people sitting using Google Meet. I was not quiet. I was moving around. My mind was active. I had forgotten our practice to silence the body and silence the mind. Since my video and audio were off, nobody could tell that I was moving. I had completely forgotten what the Roshi had said, that sitting is nothing but the whole world sitting. And there I was counting. Oh, now we're 10. Oh, 11, 12, 13, and counting and becoming happy when the numbers were slowly growing without realizing I was strengthening my ego. And when my ego was attacked, I reacted vehemently. I was in a rage and filled with frustration and just wanted to disappear. I wanted to go on a session by myself so that I could shut down the whole world. I only told one of my bodhisattvas, one of my good friends, that I was going to go on session and I was not going to get in touch with anyone because I wanted to discern. I wanted to discern. Well, that's what I told her. I also was thinking of calling Nenates, my sister, who's a Zen teacher and who brought me to Zen, to process things with her. But it didn't happen. It was Rolly who called me, or maybe I called him. And when we were talking, I just heard myself talking to him about all my complaints, all my problems, all my issues with this member and that member. I was sort of having doksan with him, but it was one way. He was just listening to all my gripes. As I was talking to him, I felt the anger in every pore of my body. I was so consumed by the anger. And then I told him, I really need to go on session. How can my body and mind ever fall away when there is just so much ego here? How can I continue to sit with the group when I have all these negative feelings? I also heard myself telling him, that the Dharma is making all these things happen to save me. And all of a sudden, the anger disappeared. The person I was angry at was totally gone. I could see the doors of the room, but they were not also there. There was a strange feelings. My tears started to flow, but I was so conscious as Cheetah was walking by and looking at me. So I held back the tears. But I just really wanted to cry. I kept telling Rolly, thank you, thank you, thank you for making me experience this. The Dharma was not making this happen. This was Dharma unfolding. Things became so clear. I was completely calm, free, and at peace. I realized there is no you and no I, no there, no here, no separation, no gap that we must close, no barriers that we must overcome. There was even no oneness or I am you or I am Trump and I am Duterte. Because there was no I to begin with. The very inspirational statements that the Roshi often uses in teisho or in Kenshukai, where he usually says something like this. Maybe if he were here, he would say this, that the is life. Oak is death. Tree is pencil, desk, cushion. In is happiness, sadness. The is mountain, trees, river, sun, moon. Garden is universe, you and I. Was the fact. This was not just something to remember or repeat or something, yeah, oak is my hand with just one finger. No, it was the reality. It was the reality. What was really strange though, was that when this was happening, I was not thinking or sitting with the koan oak tree in the garden, but oak tree in the garden's power to melt and delete delusions and ego was at work. The Several hours of sitting with the koan made it possible for me to disappear and just become totally oak tree in the garden. The anger melted away, or should I say, the anger is oak tree in the garden. And I saw it as no anger. And that is oak tree in the garden. Oak tree in the garden, however, is not mountain, rivers, sun, moon. Oak tree in the garden, sitting, counting, moving, laughing, crying. Oak tree in the garden, anger, anxiety, insecurity, delusions, concept. Oak tree in the garden, peace, freedom, the world, a Shakyamuni Buddha, Joshu, Ryoun Roshi. Deep gratitude. Oak tree in the garden. Deep bows. Thank you.